My name is Aideyan, and I'm the Senior Risk Management Consultant at HISGRAIIN Commodities Inc. I like to approach this from the perspective of somebody sitting at the table, at the kitchen, with a blank sheet of paper in front of them. The first step is to put together or put the work to get your cost of production. I suggest you round up your invoices and all the payments that you made in your most recent cropping year, tally them up, and then divide by the yield that you achieved. By the time you do this, you'll arrive at a benchmark cost of production. For your upcoming year, you can make adjustments in those lines where you foresee that there are going to be increases or changes in the cost. One of the things that we need as we put this together is an estimate of yield, particularly for forward-going years. And the challenge in the past has been, what number should I use? I like to suggest to people that we use a common sense approach when we think about this. One, you might use your average of the last 5 years that you've had and take out any Olympic years that you've had, any record years, record high year, or record low year, for instance. So use the average of your last 5 years, taking out those Olympic years. Or use your insurance yield. You can use your insurance yield as a benchmark. Something common sense is good enough. Something I like to remind people is that the yield you use for your cost of production does not have to be the same as the yield that you use when you put together your selling plan or the volume that you're going to sell. When we look at the major agricultural commodity futures, we can discern very clear seasonal patterns in their pricing. When we take corn, for instance, we discern that sometime in the summer we tend to hit our highest futures prices, and sometime between late October and December we get to the lows. How do we use seasonality? Seasonality acts as a guide. Tells us when we should be watching the markets for opportunities to price that component of our output. Seasonality doesn't suggest that every single year is going to be the same. We do have outliers, but it does give us a time when we should be watching for pricing and a time when we should be avoiding pricing. The major components you must have in your selling plan include your cost of production, the volume you're comfortable selling, futures targets, and the basis targets that you're aiming at. And then at the very bottom, you must also have the gross margin target that you will achieve once you hit all your pricing. Your selling plan is your roadmap. It guides you to where you will arrive at once you achieve those selling targets that you hit. As you put together your selling targets, one of the biggest challenges that you'll face is, what price should I pick? And what happens if prices go higher? The way I tend to address this problem when I talk to producers is ask yourself the question, what would I do if prices went lower from where they are right now? If you have a contingency plan, if you can, for instance, postpone selling till next year if need be, store and sell next year, or if you've sold enough so you have the cash required to meet your mortgage obligations and your living expenses, then you can afford to be more aggressive. If you've gone through the steps that we've talked about, you have your cost of production in front of you, you now have the seasonal tendencies for your major products as well, and you've put together a selling plan. Your selling plan is going to have your cost of production inside it, the volume that you're comfortable selling, and the futures and the basis that you're aiming at, as well as the gross margin target that you've set for your marketing. The next step, go out and execute your plan. Good luck.